Hello, everyone. My name is Dialis, and welcome to my podcast called Yeah, I Said It. Today, I'm going to be sharing why I'm doing this and kind of the story around it, in the hopes that you might listen and continue to be with me on this journey that I have no idea what I'm doing, but I know I will do my best to try to excel. I have written a bit of an outline in order to keep myself and my red communication style, which I will go over later, focused. Want this to be valuable. And again, just to share with you, my life, my stories, observations, thoughts, things like that. So, I mean, in this day and age, everybody is doing something, YouTubes and podcasts and TikToks and all that stuff. And it's always been like, why me? What's so special about me? Um, but as I continue to hear great feedback from things that I post online or discussions I've had with my friends, um, I just know that when I share my stories and my thoughts and stuff, people do resonate with it and they tell me things like, very nice compliments. And so my Maddie, who again I will talk about later, just keeping you intrigued, um, said that, this is one of those times where you can do it just like everybody else. You can jump off the bridge just like everybody else. And then there's, been many other forms of support and encouragement, many different people. And so I think sharing truths and story and conversation will bring us connection. And that's just my goal, to share that with you. So you might feel less alone. Um, I might be able to put into words or help you ponder and realize that you're amazing too. While I also am on the journey of, am I amazing? Is this real? Should I really do it? Why should people listen to me, right? But I'll share with you one of the main motivators that has been in my life, and has been always at the forefront of this conversation. And that is, I have had depression, or, clinically officially diagnosed with depression when I was 12. And through my lifetime have gone through all sorts of treatments and therapies and medications. And it's taken a long time to figure out what really sticks and what, my triggers are, my tools are, all of that stuff. It takes a while, sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. But through life, things change, and your needs change, people change, your tools change, all that stuff. But this is the thing that's really stuck with me is there was a time when I was working at AT&T, and gosh, like almost like 15 years ago, I'd say. More than 10. Less than 20. Time. Um I was working there, and I was probably what I would say in the throes of my depression. It was the darkest lowest point, right? And I was in a place where I had to make a decision, and I was I'll just say, let's just get real, okay? Sometimes the things I say are going to be triggering. Here's one of those. I was standing at the top of the stairs on the third floor in the back staircase, and I was thinking about jumping off. Hey, if I just fling myself off here, is anybody gonna, understand at that point that I'm struggling, that I'm hurt, that I need help? And I stood there for a hot minute, but then I turned around. I don't know how or why, but I turned around and I went and got a box, packed up all my stuff, and drove myself to the nearest mental health hospital and checked myself in. Again, I don't know what made me turn around, but I did. And like I said, throws. It was bad. That was a bad time. And anybody who struggled with depression currently, previously, you sometimes there's those dark times. So as I'm going through a treatment program, it was a 2-week intensive outpatient program where I went in the daytime and came home in the afternoon, for 14 days. And I would say that was probably one of the most beneficial treatments and efforts that had happened to me because of the story. So we were having group therapy sessions, and when you have depression, you feel very isolated. Like no one is going to understand, or they're going to make fun of you, or they're going to say it's all in your head. Yeah, it is all in my head. But that doesn't mean that it isn't valid and it isn't real. From the smallest, nagging thought to the darkest hole that you've ever been in. Your feelings matter, right? So I had thought to myself, I'm a failure. There's no one else that feels this way. How can I relate? How can I get help? All of these people around me in this group therapy session are perfectly fine. This guy in front of me, look at him. He has a button down white shirt on and slacks, and he looks like an adult because I was in like my late 20s at this point when this happened. And I just remember seeing this guy across me, like he has it all together. And when he started sharing every thought and feeling that I had in my head, that had been running through my head for years, this man was saying it, speaking it verbally across from me. What? What? that that has carried with me for the past over 10 years, maybe 15, less than 20. That has carried with me, and the power of that. And emotional time. Side note, Dialis likes to cry. I wouldn't say I like to cry, but I do often get very emotional. You'll hear it in my voice will start to waver, or I might need to stop and just let it out. My emotion comes in liquid form is sometimes what I say. So I also want to be very mindful that I'm not using it as a weapon or a device to gain sympathy. I feel things deeply. And yeah, so this man has no idea the ripple effect that that's had on me. And when I tell this story to other people and they receive it and listen to it, the ripple effect. So I have to continue that energy of speaking my truth, because I never know when someone else might be that person on the other side of the group therapy session. so, so as I get older, that resonates with me. Things keep coming in, as you get older, you gain more insight. Critical thinking, empathy, loving myself. Like the pinnacle or the expert or anything. Um, it isn't static, but I am more curious about things and, like a kid wanting to know why. Maybe though giving up like an absolute answer because sometimes I ain't got time for that. Um, but you know, just more curious, which allows more empathy, I think. Um, and I will say this about the story about the man in group therapy, that if you are feeling any sort of thoughts that you might harm yourself, please seek medical help. It was the best thing for me. It will be the best thing for you. So there are many resources. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to anybody. Um, and if you don't have anybody, there is the 988 hotline that you can call. You can find someone because you deserve it. So, who that out of the way. But yeah, I want to lend my voice to the conversation. You know, also, I remember my mom saying to me, which is another, I will talk about my mom too, is that life's not fair. And for me, it's kind of like I've tried to make it that way in spite of that. Um, but I've realized again how I get older is there's different definitions of fair. Um, and if I can bring some of that to the world in any way, any way that, because like fairness should be how you're treated, how you and your emotions are treated. They should be treated fairly, right? Your emotions should be treated fairly and with respect. So I've always had this voice to say these things. And when I started working in my current job, I started getting an outlet for the things I wanted to say about like society and my observations. And I really got to use my voice in different types of ways to stand up for people, to make it fair for people, as best as I can. And I had that outlet and I was able to enrich my life. And so with my emotions, my liquid emotions, my high levels of emotions that my mom said I would just dump onto people, or I'd get, you're too dramatic or you're too emotional. I used to write in journals, and I am very artistic. Not was, I am. And so, just getting my feelings out, and through conversation still too with those who would listen. Because I'll say the mental health journey that I've been dealing with and managing for the better part of 30 years. No cap. Um, lingo these days. But it's come a long way, but has a long way to go. And I want to be part of the positivity in having mental health and sharing stories and being honest with each other and loving self. That's beneficial. And we need to bring that to the forefront. So, similar to like how my job helped me with my equity and my social commentary goals, there was something, and this is the second reason why I want to do this. There was another thing that has led me now to being here, kind of completing that puzzle of why I should do this. And that's something that I'm going to talk about often. And that is the Korean pop group BTS. I found them and that community, and I was able to strengthen my emotional intelligence. I was able to have an outlet for it that was accepted. And music was the foundation, expressive. Oh, me, that, oh. So I am going to talk about them a lot. I'll try to make sure I label videos as such, for those who aren't um, inclined to want to listen to all of that. But again, that was the other half of me finding that my thoughts and my feelings were accepted. And I always want for other people to have that in whatever outlet that is. I often use the mountain biking. Like, if you are super into mountain biking and you have met a community that accepts you and loves you, and you have had challenges and you have had breakthroughs and you have had happy moments, and sometimes it was tough. But if you have that and it enriches your life in such a way that you truly get to be your full self, do it. Do it and jump in full out, full on. It's what you love, right? Love what you love. So, being part of this community of fandom is still very new in society in the first place. And so there's a lot of prejudice, there's a lot of, shunning, there's a lot of, why is this 44-year-old Black woman in love with 7 men that speak Korean and not English, and you don't understand any of the lyrics? Well, as I continue this podcast, y'all will start to understand. And again, why I just so encourage people to find that in whatever it is that excites you and lights you up inside. And just do it, find it. My phone's going off. This is why in my research of how to do this, you leave your phone anyways. So since I have that outlet, it allows for me to, face and embrace my emotion. And so I've found these reasons that just continue to happen and continue to show themselves in my life, like, Dialis, do your podcast, share your voice with people. I have had, yesterday alone, I had 4 fantastic conversations with people. Like, I just left so fulfilled, so full of energy by spending time and talking to people, talking to them, validating their emotions, connecting with them, resonating with them. I love that. I love giving that energy to people. It makes me feel so good. So it's like, it's not necessarily it's not selfless, because the energy that I receive back, the love I get back, the inspiration that I get back, that's why I do it. So we doing it. I'm gonna talk about BTS a lot. And I'm gonna talk about my mom, about being adopted, my depression, growing up white, because I did. I went to college during the pandemic and got my degree. Like, that as an adult was amazing. And again, I'm talking about subjects that might get a little uncomfortable. But change does not happen without some uncomfortability. We talk about, when you're little and you start to grow, right? Your teeth fall out and new teeth come in. It hurts. It hurts. But what do you get after it? Your adult teeth. Ooh, I hit the mic. When you get taller, when you were little, and you'd have growing pains and your arms hurt and your legs hurt, because you're just, that wasn't fun. Um, so it hurts, but the result was you. So growth hurts. um, but yeah, the people I've met, encouragement I've been given, the lessons I've learned, the ability to navigate things differently, like that's as I get older and become a sponge, like those have been wonderful. Those have been great things that have led me to me being here right now. And I don't really know how this is still going to work. Like, oh, I'm having such a hard time with technology. But that's going to be the fun part for me, and creating that world that I want to live in by sharing this honesty, bravery, love, inclusivity, challenging situations, fun, laughter, positivity, struggles, reading my list. Because for me, this will be good. Even practicing, I've had epiphanies, and it's gonna it's gonna take a lot to sort things out. Things are gonna come up for me. Um, I know also I have to focus. When we were doing a communication exercise at work, people were assigned colors to what type of communication styles they have in order for all of us to understand how to communicate with each other. It was very fun. And I was the only person in the group to be the red communicator, which is someone who is very boisterous and exciting and loves to do things and super helpful and kind of erratic. Yeah, that's me. I just got a lot of excitement. Um, so even doing this will help me keep focused. Um, so yeah, and all that I ever said for years is that I wanted a podcast. Even before that, I remember my mom saying to me, "You should be on television," and never really did anything towards it except for put that intention out there. Like, I want a podcast. Well, what have you done? Nothing. Okay, yeah, I'm just saying it, right? Or I want a podcast. Well, here, you should look at this microphone. Okay, great. I'm going to do a podcast. What have you done? I bought a microphone. Like, and all these little steps, I've never really known how I was going to do this, but I'm here now. And like, is that manifestation? I mean, buzzwords, come on. The lingo these days. I had a conversation with my friend. We were talking about the word Riz. And I was like, "Did you know what that stands for?" She goes, "No." And I said, "It stands for charisma." And she was like, "Oh God, are people so lazy that they can't say the own word?" I'm like, "We are old, but living our best lives." And that's what I want for people, you know? And this has taken a while to get here, and I have even farther to go. So I hope that you uh, stay with me, join with me, um, because I think it's going to be amazing. And however, I know how to procrastinate on a professional level. Like, give me awards. I know how to do this. And I do want to make sure that this is worthwhile and this is valuable to you and to me. Win-win. I am scared. Like, my heart beats fast when I think of these things and what I want to do and what I want to share and how far I've come from mom saying you should be on television to me recording this and getting so close to being ready. Like, if this goes out and this, then I will have met the goal that I set at the beginning of the year, which was I will have my podcast by the end of 2023. Again, procrastinating at a professional level because this is 12/23. Oh, whoa, that's way too much of a coincidence. So, like I said, blah, blah, blah. Here's that emotion in the liquid form for you. But I'm scared. I don't know what to do, but I think it's going to be amazing. And yeah, I hope that you join with me. Let's live life, yo. Let's live life. You know, I hate cliches, but one of my favorite ones is YOLO, because we do. We only live once. So, again, thank you. This has been Dialis, um, and my introduction and explanation of my podcast called Yeah, I Said It.